It's Thursday. The tournament begins any second now. You're watching WagerTalk Today. Let's make some money. We got Teddy Covers joining us right off the bat. He's going to tell you how to bet the Arkansas-Kansas game, the UC San Diego-Michigan game, and he's going to look ahead at the Baylor-Mississippi State game that goes off tomorrow. Kyle Anthony is going to give us some UFC picks. Andy Lang with a bunch of prop bets. We got Dave Mason from BetOnline coming on. He's going to tell us exactly where all the money is going, both Thursday and Friday in the madness. And we're going to end the show with the great Gianni The Greek. I'm Lawrence Pressman. You're watching WagerTalk Today, best daily sports betting show on the planet. Let's get it going. Teddy Covers. Rolling, I see. How are you, my friend?
You know, today's one of those special days. You know, we talk about Super Bowl Sundays and what Super Bowl Sundays feel like in Las Vegas. There's something about the NCAA tournament. You know, I love last weekend in college basketball. I do. I love conference. If I had to pick one weekend to bet, it'd be conference tournament weekend, not the opening weekend of March Madness. But there's something about the energy in this town this week and this weekend. You know, Vegas it's a bucket list thing. You know, if you've never been to Vegas for the opening round, you know, for the opening weekend of March Madness, it's a lot of fun. I'll be going out and about this afternoon and meeting some of the Wager Talk guys, watching some games, and then coming back home and working on the rest of it. But certainly, it's exciting. There's a genuine, like the town's beating, the heart's, your heart's pumping. It's there's something about the tournament that even after all these years, Lawrence, you still get excited about.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I mean, the real tournament begins in April on the ice, but I understand that college basketball and the madness has taken hold in America. It's not hard. I've been involved in this business for 30 years. As a Canadian, still don't get it. But hey, let's make some money, so who cares? Arkansas playing Kansas, Theodore. Man, Kansas is a sexy team normally. Kentucky, Kansas, NC. These teams perennially kick ass in the tournament. What is going to happen in this game? How is their tournament going to go? How do we bet this -5 for the KU team? Terrible setup, by the way. Completely lost the plot there. Just wanted to throw that out there. Go
Always
ahead,
a pleasure working with you, my friend.
Total
Let's
disaster.
talk about Arkansas and Kansas right now.
I just want to say quickly, because I know you want to cut this and put this up. I love your jacket, Teddy Covers. Okay.
I've worn it before. It's not so. Kara told me. I asked her what shirt do I wear. She said go monochromatic today. So it's the jacket with the shirt that I don't usually have. But yeah, I was like, this I can wear this. She's like, yeah. No, I don't know.
Good.
The answer when it comes to getting dressed, what goes with what, those aren't questions that I can answer. What the questions that I can answer have to do, hopefully, with some basketball. Let's talk about Arkansas versus Kansas today. And looking at my odds logic live odds screen right now, the money has come for the Jayhawks -5. There are even some 5.5s out there. DraftKings MGM is 5.5s right now. Total sitting in the 145.5 range. And I want to start with Kansas. All right. Bill Self's been there for 22 years. They've been in 21 previous NCAA tournaments. There was no turning the COVID year, obviously. This is the first time in that entire span that Kansas has not been a 4 seed or better. They're a 7 seed this year. And for reason. I think for good reason. They haven't been a good tournament team in recent years. They lost the opening weekend 4 times the last 5 years. All second round, but still not great. It's a Kansas team that they haven't lost in the first round since 2006, but they haven't been seeded this low since 2006. They're 6-12 ATS their last 18 games. There's no betting bandwagon. These two teams actually played an exhibition in October, and Kansas controlled it. But I'm not worried about anything that happened in an exhibition in October. I'm really not. And when we look at what the Jayhawks did, again, down the stretch, their starters were great. You know, there was nothing doing when it came to the role players, the complementary players. And from a confidence standpoint, this is not one of the more confident Kansas teams that I've seen in the Bill Self era. Arkansas, look, they started SEC play. They lost 5 in a row. They had a bad loss at LSU. They were spending the last, month and a half. Every game's must win, must win, must win. And they were doing it shorthanded. They were playing without their starting point guard. They were down to 5 or 6 healthy bodies this past weekend. Well, now they got a couple of healthy bodies, or a couple of guys back. Most notably, the point guard, Fland, who's going to come off the bench here. It was key. If Fland was going to start, I wanted no part of Arkansas. With Fland saying, all right, I'm going to take a lesser role in this game, and I'm back on the floor, and now we have a little bit of depth. Yeah, I'm interested in the Hog side in this one. In my mind, Lawrence, Kansas feels like a false favorite. I think Arkansas is live to cover. I think Arkansas is live to win the game. Coach Cal, pretty good in spots like this one. And frankly, Arkansas as a program has been pretty good. 6-1 in first-round games in their last 7 tries. I think they're live dogs today.
Teddy Covers joining us. Everyone likes Arkansas plus the 5.5. And Teddy knows college hoops. Last Madness, 25-8. That's unbelievable, Teddy. Last year you were 25-8 in the tournament. Is that the main tournament or all tournaments combined?
That's how. So the way I did it, because I don't have what's an NCAA tournament game, what's an NIT game. 25-8 to close out the season. Yeah, I mean that's how I closed it out with my last 33 releases. So they were all at this time of the year. I think it started March 14th or March 15th last year, whenever the run started. We're on a good run right now. On 6-1 over the last 6 days in college hoops action. Easy right sides. A big play on the Michigan under in the Big Ten title game. An easy winner with North Carolina the other night. We're seeing things pretty clearly. And obviously last year we dominated this tournament, and we're in good form right now. Great opportunity to get on board. Look, this buy April and get March for free is a great deal. I mean, it really is a legitimately good deal. I would say don't buy a play to buy a package. This is the package to get. You get every play for the entirety of the tournament. You get all my baseball through the beginning of May. You get all my NBA, including the start of the playoffs through the beginning of May. And it's $2.99? Check it out on my page, wt.buzz/TC, or any of the cappers at WagerTalk.com.
Teddy, your alma mater is playing today, and that's the team we're going to be speaking about. Teddy bleeds yellow and blue, went to Michigan. They're the 5 seed playing the 12 UCSD, and they're only minus 2.5 here. Are you betting against or on the school that taught you how to be an idiot?
So let's start with this. All right. It's maize and blue, not yellow and blue. That's very key. All right. Whatever. Get the colors right. If you're going to mention the colors, get the colors right. Secondly, I am a Michigan alumni. That being said, I got no loyalty whatsoever to the Wolverines program. Make no mistake about it. I've made a lot more money in Vegas betting against Michigan than I have betting on them over the years. So I oftentimes look for spots to step in front of the Wolverines because it's a program that I know fairly intimately. This ain't that spot. All right. Look, let me start with this. This line stinks to high heaven. All right. Obviously, there is a significant wise guy support for the San Diego Titans. They're a trendy underdog pick. They've certainly had an unbelievable season from a straight up and from a point spread perspective. But when I'm looking for step up in class games, how do I know this team can play with the big boys? Guess what? There ain't any. All right. What's their tough games this year? Well, let's see. I guess they played Toledo and James Madison. LaSalle, they lost San Diego State early. This is not a battle-tested Titans team. And I know they've put up some impressive numbers. And from a point spread perspective, anyone who's backed has made a fortune this year. They're 23-7 ATS. Those aren't necessarily the teams I want at this time of year, the times that made money for their backers all season and have built up an enormous betting bandwagon. And from the wise guys, they really have built up an enormous betting bandwagon because they've been an undervalued commodity all year. And even if they win the game, they're not undervalued anymore. All right. The markets have caught up for the Titans. And Michigan with the 2 7-footers. The argument that I'm hearing for San Diego around town, this past week. Oh, Michigan's going to turn the ball over. Michigan's turn the ball over. Yeah, against Big Ten defenses. I don't think Michigan is going to have problems in terms of turnovers in bunches against the Tritons. And when you look at the Wolverines, 2 7-footers, two guys who play pick and roll with each other, I think it's going to be very difficult for San Diego to stop. So if I'm playing, I'm laying. That said, Lawrence, this did not make my card. I did not play the Wolverines in this game. I haven't bet them. And, I'm seeing 2s out there now. If I get a 1.5, maybe I'll get to the window with the Wolverines. I just think the wise guy support for the San Diego side it's a little bit too much for this better. There's value on the favorite. And I normally don't like the favorites coming off a scenario in which they just rolled through the conference tournament, look good doing so, built up a betting bandwagon. I'm not willing to lay double digits with teams like that in the opening round, but laying 1.5, if I get 1.5, I pull the trigger here. Even 2, I could only look at the Michigan side in this ballgame. Maybe they get upset. Maybe they go home. Wouldn't shock me. UCSD is good, but I think the value is on the favorite, not on the underdog.
Teddy Covers joining us. Teddy, this just in while you were talking, 1.5 billion Indian people and 1 billion Chinese people were shown the logo of the Michigan Wolverines. And out of the 2.6 billion people, 2.6 billion of them said it was yellow. Baylor versus Mississippi State. This game goes off tomorrow. It's the first one on the card. Where are you going here, my brother?
So let's talk about Baylor and Mississippi State. Classic 8 seed versus 9 seed with a line open pick. Before I do it, though, I got to ask you guys one simple favor. If you like this type of analysis, just give us a thumbs up. We appreciate it very, very much. It makes all the difference in the YouTube algorithms. So give us a like. Thank you. If you agree, disagree, comment below. It's okay to disagree with me. I won't be mad at you. As long as you give your reasoning, that's fine. But leave a comment below. And, of course, if you haven't done so already, do we have 200,000 yet, Lawrence? 200,000 on the WagerTalk YouTube channel? If we don't,
we're at 197, and we're kind of stuck there, Teddy. So I don't know what to do here, but we'll get there. We'll get there. We got a big show coming March 31st. Starting on March 31st, myself and Matthew Barnaby will be doing an NHL show, and I can announce that the first guest on that show giving out NHL picks will be Daniel Negreanu. And I believe that will get us over the 200,000 mark because Roenick will be our guest on day 2. May will be our guest on day 3. And it's going to be one famous NHLer after another. And with their tweeting, twittering, Xing, social media might, we're going to crack 200K. Okay. Go into this game, please, because I got a ski hill.
I was about to, and I threw to you for 1 second, and then you took it over. So let's try again.
I'm still confused about
Baylor, Mississippi State, classic 8 seed versus 9 seed matchup. We appreciate the likes. We appreciate the comments. We appreciate the follows very, very much. Let me tell you how I approach games like this. All right. It's an 8 seed versus a 9 seed. The line open pick 'em. They have 2 previous meetings this entry, by the way. One 78-77, one 54-52. So the 2 games decided by a combined total of 3 points. This game is going to be close. From a side standpoint, before tip-off, there's no bet. All right? There's no side here. That said, in-game, either team goes down by double digits. This is the type of game where the coach calls timeout and disgust. That's the team you want to bet on right there. Either team goes down by double digits, I would look to bet on them in live bettings. Both of these teams, Baylor and Mississippi State, have shown character for me this season. They're not going to quit when down or facing adversity. So I expect a back and forth game. I think from a live betting standpoint, getting either side +5 is worth a fortune. And I think maybe you'll get both if you do it live betting. I expect it to come down to the final minute, probably the final possession. And what do we want to do with NCAA tournament games that we think are going to be really close? We want to bet the under and pray for no overtime. But the tight games slow down big time. Second half, last 8 minutes, last 12 minutes. They're 1 possession games and they not seeing anything going in fast break. And you can oftentimes go see 30 seconds, miss shot, 30 seconds the other way, miss shot. That's what the back end of these games can look like when they're really tight. So I like the under. I'm certainly looking at second half unders in a game that should be one possession. It's a big difference when you don't get that foul three-pointer scenario in the final 60 to 90 seconds. 15 points of difference if a guy, easy. So looking at under, I'm looking at second half under, and I'm looking at in-game betting either team that's down by margin. I think that's the best way to play a game that I expect to be. It could be an early classic tomorrow. It should be a lot of fun on early start action on Friday, but that's the way I would look at it, Lawrence.
There we go. Teddy covers. What a segment, brother. Always love having you on. Best game breakdown person that we have. At least that's my opinion, Teddy. Many argue. Many put you in the bottom three. I say you're firmly the number one better breaker downer that we have on the show. Guys, Teddy's coming into the madness on a 6-1 college basketball run. Brother, what do you got going for the clients today and tomorrow?
So we have a 3-pack, 4 hoops today, 2 in college, 1 in the NBA. We've got 5% big ticket up already for tomorrow, as well as a 4-star selection for tomorrow. We may well add more as well. But don't buy any plays, really. Get on board with the package. The package is the way to go. You'll get every play every day through the end of April. Just $2.99. WT.buzz/TC.
There we go. Teddy covers. Outstanding job. Okay, guys, let's keep the show moving along. Kyle Anthony joining us. We've got some UFC picks coming your way. Kyle, are you excited about the madness, or let's just get on to some UFC?
No, I'm all bracketed up. I'm feeling good, but my problem is it's hard for me to find the underdogs. I'm trying. I kind of stick with the ones, and you know what I mean. But I think Florida. If you want my take, this is a free one. Florida's winning it all, and it's not that hot of a take, but I think that's worth it. Pre bet before the madness starts.
Dude, I've been to Florida many times. My parents lived there in the winter, and Florida already won it all. That is a kick-ass state, bro. Okay, Sean Brady versus Leon Edwards. How do we bet this matchup?
So in the main event on Saturday, we've got Sean Brady. He's minus 165. In the comeback here, we've got Leon Edwards plus 130. Now, Leon is coming off losing the title to Bilal Muhammad in his most recent fight, where Bilal was able to do what he was able to do, implement the wrestling, push the pace, really, slow down and limit any of the offense that Leon Edwards had, and really forced him to be very timid in the pocket. You did see that Bilal was able to secure 9 takedowns of 13 attempts, and was just able to dictate the pace over those 5 rounds. Now, obviously, Bilal is the current champion. The guy is elite cardio, elite wrestling. But, it does add to the fact that, I think Sean Brady can implement some of those things, being a wrestler, being a guy that's going to push that path. Now, if he moves forward, pushes that wrestling pace, and wins positionally, I think that's where he finds success here. Also, Leon is a guy who's going to, back up. He wants to fight off the back foot. I think that's going to allow opening for cage pushing, looking for takedowns, looking for that opportunity for Brady to look those takedowns. And also, I don't know if this is a hot take, but, I'm not very high on Leon Edwards' takedown defense. The guy right now has been taken down 20 times over his last 4 fights. Now, obviously, high-level guys there, but it still opens up that path for Brady. And Brady, I think, is going to really force the issue here, look to push the pace. He averages 3.4 takedowns per 15 minutes. And over his last 4 fights, he secured 17 takedowns. So this is the spot here. I think that he's going to push the pace, positionally win. And when you're looking at kind of how this plays out, he's not a guy that's really someone who's going to knock anyone out. Over his last 17 victories, he's got 5 submissions, 9 by decision. His only 3 knockout victories happened very early in his career. The last knockout victory was back in 2014. So this is a spot, I think it's a double chance, submission or by points. You're getting a little bit better of a number here at minus 120, minus 125. And I think that's the spot how Brady gets it done in the main event.
There we go. Kyle Anthony kicking ass. Kyle, how you doing in UFC, and what do you have for the clients?
Good. So we're coming off a nice winning weekend last week. Last week, I just had one play. I didn't really like the card from a betting perspective. We had Chidi Njokuani, 4%. He ended up getting the knockout victory, minus 115, easy peasy. This weekend, I really do like this slate. I've got 5 plays locked in right now and going to be adding to that. The number one MMA capper over the last 12 months. So we got to keep it going here. Got some great cards coming up, and we're locked and loaded for this weekend.
Let's get into the next fight. Mick Parkin versus Marcin Tybura. Who you betting here, bro?
So we've got Mick Parkin, he's minus 120 on the comeback here. We've got Marcin Tybura, he is plus 100. Now this line opened up Tybura minus 145. And money has consistently come in on the Mick Parkin side, and I absolutely do agree with it here. I think there's multiple red flags on the Tybura side. I think the first thing is going to be that he's 39 years old. You've got Mick Parkin, 29, 10-year age gap. And even the fact that Tybura, he's not an explosive guy to begin with, but it just seems like, everything's starting to slow down. It's starting to tick down for him. I think his durability is starting to become in question. He's been rocked and wobbled multiple times. And plus, he's just very one-dimensional. He can't get the fight to the ground. He really, I think, is out of sorts there, where I like Mick Parkins here because I think the guy's going to be able to have, he consistently, is getting better, I think, fight after fight. But the boxing for him, I think, is where he's going to find the advantage here, really keep this fight standing, work at range, and a big advantage for him is the volume. He pushes out a really good volume for the heavyweight division. Tybura's striking is absolute trash, and I think that he can keep this fight standing throughout this fight and just add volume. But if you're looking at, competition-wise, Tybura does have the advantage when you're looking at competition. It's just that, he's been in the UFC longer. There are those things that obviously he's just been at the higher level, and you've got Parkin, who's kind of coming into the UFC, starting to build up. But guys that Tybura's beat, Blagoy Ivanov, he's 1-5 run in the UFC. Tuivasa, 0-5 run in the UFC. Even Jonathan Deniz, who I think is an absolute fraud, still hurt Tybura, and then ended up getting the finish here. So I think this is a spot, clearly, it's one fighter's on the rise, one fighter is on the decline, and I think you're getting a pretty good price here still at this particular number here. Also, a sprinkle to close this out is that I do like that Mick Parkins does train with Tom Aspinall, the interim champion. That can only elevate a 29-year-old in this spot. So I am going to be going Mick Parkin here, minus 120, and I think he gets the job done.
Brilliant segment, Kyle. We love having you on every Thursday. Thanks for doing this, my brother. Enjoy the madness. I hope you win your fights. And we'll see you next Thursday, same time.
Do it all over again.
Show.
Thanks, Prez.
Great show, everybody. We still got 3 guests to come. I just wanted to remind everybody, I did lose my NHL play last night, but we won the Xavier free play again. We've won every free play so far given out on the show this week. I will give you an NHL free play a little later on. Andy Lang joining us. And Andy, college basketball in full swing. You got a prop bet for us. We're just going to keep the show moving along. Let's go.
All right, let's go to the game Drake versus Missouri. And let's do Bennett starts over 1.5 made 3-pointers. Pretty simple, Prez. Over in 11 out of 14 games, averaging 5.6 3-point attempts, which we love. Shooting 44.5% from threes. We love that as well. But the big selling point, Missouri, 213th in the nation in 3-point percentage defense. So he gets a really nice matchup. He's getting the volume, and it's tournament time. So don't expect these guys to be coming out unless there's foul trouble. So expect him to get a little bit extra minutes, maybe a couple of extra shots. So we'll take Sturts over 1.5 made threes.
Andy, it amazes me how you find these bets, dude. I hope it's a computer algorithm because otherwise you don't sleep.
It's a grind. I have lots of paid websites that are worth every penny because they do a lot of research. But yeah, it's not a sexy like when I tell people, oh yeah, I do sports gambling for a living. Oh man, that must be amazing. Like the research really is not. I enjoy it. I enjoy going through all the stats and everything. But yeah, it could be a grind. But that's what we're here for.
A good thing to do on edibles. That's what I would say. Anyway, darts.
Andy. The worst thing to do on edibles is the New York Times crossword puzzle. It is impossible. I can
All
do it.
crossword puzzles are impossible.
They're impossible. I can have the most basic one in front of me. I take a couple puffs, worthless. Absolutely worthless. So, yeah.
5 letters, a sport that can also be a weapon.
5 letters, a sport that can also be a weapon. Oh, man, I didn't even smoke it. I'm not even darts.
DARTS. Darts.
You're right. You're right. Darts could be a weapon.
And Andy Lang needs edibles to make crosswords hard. Oh my!
Well, you said a 5-letter sport. And I was like, baseball, soccer. No. All right, let's talk darts here, Prez. There's a match today. Chris Dobie and Stephen Bunting. I want your opinion. Are you a guy that when he handicaps, do you ride the streak or do you say like someone's due to break the streak? Because Stephen Bunting has not won a match yet in the Premier League. We are on night 7 and he has yet to win a match. I'm fading him. The guy I work with, Corbin, who's the darts master, he's like, no, he's going to win this week. He's due. So what do you do with this? Do you just keep fading the guy who sucked or do you say he's got to win one at some point?
I do not play the do factor, Andy Lang.
Well,
what are you
let's
doing?
ride. We're going to ride with Chris Dobie, but keep in mind, the guy that does all of our darts plays, Corbin, who is fantastic at this, he likes Dobie to win. Or I'm sorry, he likes Bunting to win. I like Dobie. I'm going to keep fading the guy that's been terrible.
Wow. Andy having a dispute with his darts expert. There's a great way to settle it, Andy.
We're going to know here in about 3 hours. We're going to know in about 3 hours for sure. It'll be fun.
You got an NBA bet for us, and it's not a prop bet. Let's hear it.
Yeah, this is very rarely do I come on here and talk about a spread, but the Brooklyn Nets getting 9 points against my Indiana Pacers is way too many. There's a lot of stats that back it up, but here's the big selling point, Prez. This is going to be the 12th back-to-back situation for the Pacers. They have not covered this spread in any of the second legs of back-to-backs this season. They've lost a lot of them. One of them, they lost by 9 points to this Brooklyn Nets team earlier this season. Pacers have needed some late game heroics to be just winning, let alone covering these spreads. So rest advantage to Brooklyn. Pacers not covering any spreads on the second leg of back-to-backs. I like the Brooklyn Nets to cover the spread tonight.
Wonderful segment, Andy. Awesome stuff. Love having you do this. We got to keep the show moving along. 5 guests now. Hey, I do it one time, and now every day it's 5 guests. Anyway, love having you on, my brother. We'll see you tomorrow. Best of luck on the show. Wait, what do you got going for the clients? We forgot that part. That's important.
UFC pack is up, number 1 this year. Darts pack is up. We've yet to have a losing night in darts. I get that everyone is focused on college basketball. This is your day to do that, but don't forget there is a lot of money to be made in other sports. We're number 1 last 2 years, number 1 last 365 years, number 1 last 30 days. You get it. What we do is when you can take advantage, 7-day pass, instant discount down to $69, WT.buzz/AL. Good luck on your brackets and have a great college basketball Thursday.
Wonderful stuff. Guys, every Thursday over at Sports Memo, we have $2 Thursday. Today, the $2 Thursday handicapper is the great Ben Burns, one of the true Mount Rushmore handicappers in this industry, an absolute freaking legend. He's got a college basketball blowout, and it's only $2. He's the number 1 basketball capper of all time with us. And a really excellent guy, for the record. Ben Burns, $2 Thursday handicapper. Head over to WagerTalk, to Sports Memo. No promo code required. Ben Burns, $2 over at Sports Memo. Dave Mason joining us from BetOnline, and I could not have come at a better time. How are you, my friend?
Good, man. Hectic. Really hectic week, but I love it.
Yeah, we've been talking on Twitter. You took some time off. You deserved that. What did you do? And are you glad to be back?
Yeah, I went up to Mexico, messed around up there for a bit. That water's so nice, man. That damn clear water and white sands like nowhere else. Glad to be back. I'm glad to be back home, man. I can't leave. I can't stay live at a hotel too long, man. I get back to my routine. Yeah, glad to be back to work. March Madness is so fun, so I love it.
Awesome stuff. Love having you with us. Let's get into some college basketball talk. And Dave, let's start right off the bat with where all the big money is going today and tomorrow, first round of the tournament.
Yeah, man. I mean, shoot, action's pouring in. I mean, let me bring up the splits real quick here for you. I mean, the game that's going on now. We need Creighton pretty big. 67% of cash on Louisville, 59% on Purdue coming up, 65% on Montana. Not a lot of action there overall. Auburn. High spreads, so I mean it's lopsided, but not a lot of action. Those high spreads hurt the overall money big time. Zags 58%, VCU 59%, Tennessee 63%, Yale 64%, and UNC Wilmington 58%. Everything else today is kind of split 50-50. They're close to 50-50. So those are our biggest needs so far. But I mean, so much action comes in right before post, so you really can't. You got to take those numbers with a grain of salt, to tell you the truth. I mean, I'm looking at tomorrow's splits, and there's a fraction of the money compared to these games. Big games tomorrow so far. Let me see. Connecticut minus 5.5 is getting public action. Akron plus 15 is getting public action. Besides that, either the volume's low so far or it's pretty close to 50-50.
Dave Mason joining us. Dave, what do you like? What are you personally betting today and tomorrow?
I took High Point plus 8.5. I took Omaha plus 19. Drake. I love that coach in Drake. He ain't going to be there long. He'll be gone after this tournament, I'm sure. He'll be on to bigger and better things. Plus 7. A&M minus 7. VCU plus 3.5. Those are all things I took a little bit early.
Dave, we got a full slate of NBA going tonight. I know a lot of people are focused on college basketball. We also have a massive NHL card. Are you seeing or hearing anything there?
Some sharp stuff. Yeah, like you said, I mean, the March Madness dominates today, but we do have other stuff going on. Hornets plus 8, plus 8.5. Lakers 4. Under 225, I believe. Oh, no. Yeah, under 225, I think, in the Nets Pacers. I think I'm looking at the right screen here. NHL, Flames plus 169, Lightning plus 110, Canes minus 305. That's some sharp NHL for you.
Oh, there we go. Brilliant stuff. What else is going on? What do you got to promote? I'm sure there were brackets out. Is there going to be another one halfway through? What's happening at BetOnline?
Yeah, we had a $200,000 bracket contest. Entry was just $15, I think. We're going to be doing a Sweet 16. Yeah, we're doing a Sweet 16 one as well. So check the site on Monday for that. I forget what the entry is. I think it's about $15 again, and I believe the prize is at least $50,000. So yeah, check the site and come on over to betonline.ag after the games. And again, we have some of the earliest openers for all these games, so keep checking the site for the softest and earliest odds.
Brilliant. Love having you on, man. This makes this show, Dave. Thank you for doing this, brother. Are you back in your regular Thursday spot?
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Let's talk over DM and figure out the best time of the week. Friday will be a little sketchy going forward, but a Thursday might work best.
Dave, I'll make this really easy. Just pick the best time for you, and we'll make it work.
All right, let's talk. That's Thursday, I think, is good. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday is best. All right, bud.
Perfect.
Later.
Dave Mason, everyone. Guys, hit that like button, please. Make sure to take advantage of our $2 Thursday play over at Sports Memo. Ben Burns. I'm going to give out a few NHL plays right now, but I will single out the one that we will count for tomorrow. First off, I like the New Jersey Devils in regulation tonight against the Calgary Flames. I'm anti-Calgary right now. They did beat the Rangers last game. This is the third game in 4 nights for Calgary. They're going to be tired. Plus, they suck. I like the Devils in regulation. I like the under in the Toronto-New York Rangers game. We were on the over last night. Close to 70 shots in that game. It was the right call, wrong result. But the Rangers can't score, guys, period. So I like the under in that game. And the play that I am singling out as my favorite free bet of the night in NHL is the Edmonton Oilers minus 130 on the money line against the Winnipeg Jets. This is a great spot to bet Edmonton. They were on a losing streak, and then they finally came out with a 7-1 drubbing over Utah, which, by the way, I like Utah in regulation tonight. But I just feel like Edmonton is going to go on a little bit of a run. And I know Winnipeg, one of the best teams, if not the best in all of hockey. It just happens to be a great spot for the Oilers. Take Edmonton minus 130. Gianni The Greek joining us right now. How are you, my friend?
Prez, just been firing away since early this morning.
Okay, well, tell us what you're firing on.
So let me see if there's a props. I fired a couple props that I couldn't release as premium plays, obviously, because the lines move quickly. But for prop fans out there, High Point Purdue is about to tip off in about 5 minutes. We went under 8.5 points for Bobby Pettiford. And then later in Georgia versus Gonzaga, we went over 1.5 3-point field goals for Blue Cane. Over 1.5 3-point field goals for Blue Cane. The early game, we got Louisville. That was a sharp side. Louisville on the money line. Louisville minus 2.5 and 3. They're close with Creighton. It's going to be a one bucket game from what it looks like in the first half. A couple other things that we jumped on early. I probably talked about earlier. BYU at minus 2.5. That had gotten as high as 3.5. And then you saw some VCU money coming in late. So it looks like a difference of opinion on that number 3 between betting syndicates. UCLA, that's a sharp side for sure. I gave that out to subscribers as a 4% play at minus 5. That game will probably tip off at minus 6, especially at some of the square shops, because I do expect the public to come in on that side as well. Total for you, I think I gave it out earlier in the week, over 145.5, 45 and 46, VCU, BYU, and also bet over in that UCLA game with Utah State. So they do expect UCLA to be able to get the cover and go over, which isn't surprising. I think UCLA is just so much better than their opponent today. A couple other sharp sides, Missouri minus 6, Kansas minus the 4.5, Clemson minus 7 and 7.5. And real interesting game is Yale, Texas A&M. I talked about it before. Every time it goes to 7, someone picks off the 7 on Texas A&M. But there's so much Yale love from the recreational bettors and even some sharp guys I respect. They think Yale's going to be able to play them close, possibly pull off the upset. Some of the more one-sided public games for today that stick out, very one-sided. Early it was actually on Creighton. Creighton was getting the money, leading all the way up to tip-off. In fact, that was the heaviest bet side of the early action, and then followed by High Point. For whatever reason, the public thinks High Point will give Purdue a run for their money. Drake, they like Drake a lot over Missouri. They're betting Drake money line. They don't think they need the points there. Montana seems to be a sexy pick, public and sharps on Montana later today. And Wofford over Tennessee. Again, a lot of these double-digit favorites, you would think they'd be laying it, but they like taking the points. And in pretty much every game, even like Auburn, Alabama State, St. John's, Nebraska, they're not as one-sided as you would think, where, you would think the recreational players think it's going to be a blowout. They like to bet their dogs when it comes to March Madness. I was a little bit surprised at that, and I was also surprised at a lot of unders, where usually the bias is towards favorite and over. That just isn't the case, especially in round 1. I've been seeing mostly underdogs and under money. And it's not surprising. Everybody likes Cinderella when it comes to March Madness. Everybody's looking for that live dog. The one bit of advice I'll add real quickly, if you are betting dogs today, don't be afraid to sprinkle that money line. You have to. Now, I'm not talking about when you take a 32-plus point dog or 18.5 point dog. But if you're taking anything with 9, 10 points or less, you got to sprinkle a little something. And the lower the points, the more you should sprinkle. Like if you got a 5.5, 6 point dog, you got to put at least 10% of your bet on the money line, because this is that time of year where even though the higher seeded teams tend to win 7 out of 10 games, when the dogs do cover, they do so on the money line a lot. You know, it's not like the point spreads come into play all that often. More times than not, it's a blowout by the favorite or a money line win by the dog, kind of like the NFL playoffs, where it's, you know, pick the winner, you'll cash a ticket. It's kind of like that in March Madness, and not surprising because this is that time of year where recreational bettors' money far, far, far outweighs the sharp money. And that's why you're not seeing such huge line moves like you would real quickly, like that Louisville game, the early game. I told you the sharps were on 2.5. I think John Murray came on and talked about Louisville. Art the Caesars talked about Louisville, how they got sharp money on the money line, bet at 140, bet at 150. They were up to 160, but they didn't move that line past 3 because there was more than enough money on the other side to help them minimize risk. So this is that time of year where you get a ton of value, even betting the sharp side, because they don't need to adjust the line as quickly. Like during the year, if the sharp bettors are on SIU Edwardsville, they're the only ones betting SIU Edwardsville game. It's not like they're going to get public money the other way to help balance that action. So it's the books versus the wise guys, and they're going to have to move the line significantly to stop other guys from betting it. Not the case during March Madness. Not the case now, not the case in the Sweet 16, Elite 8, or Final 4. So take advantage of that, where you could end up piggybacking a lot of steam, which does well this time of year, and more importantly, not have to take a third or fourth number. You're taking the second number, which more times than not is definitely still plus EV. So keep that in mind. And don't forget, sprinkle, sprinkle, sprinkle when you like the dog.
Gianni, that was awesome, dude. I mean, the chat room liked it. That was some really great information. And just to add, especially in round 1 and 2, guys, that's where the dogs bite the most. So really, really great point. Gianni, we're going to keep this short. What do you got going with the clients?
Oh, it's that time, baby. Only the third 5% I've released in college basketball in 2024-2025 season. That's it. 2-0 so far. I didn't have any for the conference. I had one in the regular season, one in the conference tournaments, and one right now tonight. Goes off about 7 p.m. Eastern time. Plenty of time to get over to WagerTalk and get it. We're coming in hot, Prez. Up for the year. It's still early to celebrate that, but over the last 7 days, number one picked up 35 plus units. Beautiful ROI, not a ton of volume. I love doing it this way, having a lot more fun, and I think my subscribers are benefiting a lot more. Friday package is up as well. Don't forget, don't wait too long because I got 3 future bets in there. National championship coupled with a Sweeces team bet and a couple other stuff. As you can see, phones are ringing. It's just that kind of day. I love it.
Get out of here, bro.
Have a great one, brother. Good luck today.
Thank you, brother. Gianni the Greek, everyone. What a fun show. Tons of betting information. Shout out to Teddy Covers, to Dave Mason, Kyle Anthony, Andy Lang, Gianni the Greek. On behalf of Dan Alexander and myself, we got to do this all over again tomorrow. See you at 12 noon Eastern.